break.
Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Brisker.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
And now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Miller Lite with the voices of the Bears, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer.
Training camp going strong with fans starting to arrive, with the pads about to come on, and we're also looking forward to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the arrival of one Devin Hester, days away from his entrance into the hallowed halls of Canton, Ohio, and induction. Devin, appreciate you joining us here on the Bears Etc. podcast. This is episode 81. We're brought to you by Miller Lite. Jeff Joniak here with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, and you are our special guest. What are your emotions right now?
Man, it's more nervous than anything. For me, it's really the only thing that I'm stressing over is just the speech. Everything else is going pretty good. The planning, the tickets, the hotels, all that stuff been pretty good. For me, it's just really preparing for the speech. You know what I mean? Just so many people I want to thank, trying to make sure that I don't leave any the important people left out. Other than that, I'm just enjoying it. Time is moving a little slow right now, so I'm ready to get over.
Well, see, in the old days, I remember I've covered several Hall of Fame induction speeches, and I remember Steve Young's. Tom, you might remember his was so long. I mean, it was an hour. Now they give you a time. What is the time limit? And do they really impress upon you that you have to adhere to it? And that would lead to me wondering too. Yeah, how do you thank everybody?
So first off, we have a new guy that runs it now, Jim Porter.
Yeah.
And his mindset is, this is you guys' day. You know, at first they had a time limit, and of course a couple guys went over the time limit. But he pretty much said, hey, I don't want to make your speech, tell you a certain time. Listen, it's your day. However you feel, if you want to thank the whole world, then of course we don't want you to be up there for hours, but hopefully you can get 10 minutes to 20 minutes in, that'd be perfect. So That's kind of where we at right now. I've been practicing a little bit. I'm around the 15-minute mark, so I feel like that's pretty good. But other than that, just taking it day by day.
Hey, Devin, so the opportunity to get in the Hall of Fame, there's obviously a year of disappointment when you were overlooked, but then there's that year of excitement when you were going to be presented into the Hall of Fame. Can you talk about the two different sides of the emotion for you, the disappointment, but how it led up to the excitement?
Each year, I didn't get into my third year, and the first 2 years I made the finalists to the top 10 the first 2 years. And the way it works is they give you a call, even if you make it or you don't, and let you know. And each phone call, it was, hey, Devin, man, we sorry. You was right at the board again. The first 2 years, I was the last person to get cut. So they picked 5. I was the 6th man 2 years in a row. And they was like, man, it happened again. And I was like, what, I'm the 6th guy again this year? And he was like, yeah. He was like, but listen, you're so close, man. We've been rooting for you. So hey, listen, we know that your time is coming. It's not a question. So that's something that you don't have to worry about. It's a matter of time that it will happen. And the third strike was a charm. And they called me and said, hey, well, they didn't call me. So when they didn't call me, that's when I knew I made it.
The third strike is a charm. That's a great line by you. Use it in your speech. You know what's interesting about you, Devin, is all the Hall of Famers that I played with, whether Richard Dent or Dan Hampton or Mike Singletary or Jimbo. Walter, they all played a position and they were embraced by the Bears fans. The more I read about you, the more that you're embraced by the nation of football fans. And I think that's pretty cool and unique in the own right, because because you captured an audience with your skills around the world, not just in the Chicagoland area. So, I mean, you have to appreciate that in terms of what your career and what you were able to accomplish and, just the opportunity to get in the Hall of Fame.
It's truly an honor, not only to be loved by just the city of Chicago, but nationwide. I know my first year up for the Hall of Fame, I know that I was the fan voting leader, and this is when we had some of the top guys in there 3 years ago, and I led in fan votes for the Hall of Fame. So, it's just that's a testimony to show that, hey, you're not only loved by Chicago natives, but you're nationwide. You have so many fans that love you, and it showed.
Heck, Devin, it's worldwide. How many emails or Twitter messages or Instagram have you gotten from other countries' fans? Because the Bears have a massive fan base in Europe, especially in London, Germany. People tell me Japan. I mean, have you felt that at all internationally?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Even and it always starts off, hey, I'm a Jets fan, or hey, I'm a Packer fan, or hey, I'm a Detroit or whatever, 49er fan or whatever the case may be. But I gotta give you your props. You are the most dangerous guy, best returner ever walked the face of the earth, and I get that so much from guys whenever they do a post about the Hall of Fame or a quote that somebody may post on Instagram or Twitter. You read the comments, and it's all nationwide fans from all over that's coming in on that, saying that this guy is really who he really are.
Vizzy Hard Seltzer, flavors for every vibe. Celebrate responsibly. Molson Coors Beverage Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right, so back to the speech a minute. And is this going to be kind of the first time that you're going to get to a podium and give a speech? And this is about your professional life and the pinnacle of achievement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And is anybody helping you write it?
So, of course, I had a couple of speeches growing up in elementary, middle school, high school, but it wasn't about me. It wasn't about football. It wasn't really about my life. This one is really, really based on the moment I was born to the man I am today. And when I look back at this speech is really about, to me, it's the last award you can get in professional football. There's no other award that you can get outside of the Hall of Fame. There's no other award that's out there to get. And so for me, this award here, man, is me telling my journey of how I got to this point and what types of help did I get along the way to get me to this point, and just a life dream as a child growing up, wanted to be a professional football player, and just all in a nutshell, just what it took.
Devin, I think any of us that have played football and dedicated our life to it, there's a coach that started it all. For me, it was a guy named Rocky Carnegie who started the Pop Warner program in Joliet, Illinois, and he came and said, look, I think you should play football. When you think about your speech, is there a first guy to say, man, this guy is special, I need you on the football field?
I think my situation was a little different. We in Florida, that's all we did was play football. And so amongst our peers, the players, the kids that I grew up with, we all just kind of just bonded, and we all played in one community. And it was more so of whenever the big sign showed up saying registration time to sign up for football, it was just what we did.
So when you got into football, how long did it take for a coach or for you to recognize that some of your skills are going to be on the special teams? There's not everybody can't go out there and catch punts. There's not a lot of guys that have the guts to return kickoffs. So how early were you when you realized that, this can be a major part of my future?
I would say it started at an early age because, of course, everybody with talent, growing up in Part 1, you either play quarterback or running back. That's just no-brainer. When you're the best player on the team, they either put you at quarterback or running back. And so after the first day of tryouts, that was my position, quarterback or running back. And so coaches always trying to find a way to get their best guys, get the ball in the best guy's hands. And so, of course, me being one of the best guys with the ball in my hand, they say, hey, when kickoff and punt return call, you go back there too to return it. And so that kind of just stuck with me. It was always another opportunity to showcase my talent and get my hands on the ball and to get us in the end zone.
How'd you find the linemen? You know, you gotta have a group of linemen. Don't take us out of the game. How'd you find those guys when you were growing up?
It was always back in the days. It was easy to find linemen because it was just one big community, you know, and so the linemen couldn't get left out. You know, those guys went to play football too, so we say, hey, if you're over 100 pounds, you're on the line.
You know, it's such a fertile area for talent down there too. So many great players, and it's a conveyor belt. They're still coming in the league from all areas of Florida and the South, for that matter. You can make a case, the whole Florida Georgia argument, you know that. But you know, when you return the opening kickoff for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. And I said, from Riviera Beach, Florida, to the biggest stage in sports, Devin Hester, you are ridiculous. You know, it was in your backyard. You could not have scripted that any better than that. The biggest stage in sports, and here you take the opening kickoff for a touchdown. That calls in the Hall of Fame. Now you'll be in the Hall of Fame with your bust. You got the gold jacket. I mean, can you put that all in perspective, that particular moment in time, out of all the big returns of your career?
I think that really, really solidified who I really was. You know, I just did a commercial shoot with Josh Cribb and D'Angelo Dante Hall. And we got the opportunity to have an hour or two to sit down and talk during lunch. And the one thing they did say was, hey, man, like, as a returner, you know, we go in games, we don't have pressure because we don't have people talking about, okay, are you going to return one this week? Are you guys going to get a touchdown on a return game? But they were saying, like, the situation that you was in when you played in the Super Bowl, and it was just talked about for weeks and weeks of, will you return one? Like, that's a lot of pressure. Like,
So you felt it. You felt it.
Yeah. You get that in a regular season game. Hey, you think you're gonna take a return this back this week? You know, okay. Yeah, I possibly can. But when you're in the national biggest game of the year and it's getting talked about, you seeing casino bets and all these DraftKings bets coming up, and you like, wow, I gotta try to win some of these people money. You getting all the report going on with everybody. That's pressure.
The funny thing is, on the actual radio call, you're not aware of this, I'm certain, but I'm going crazy. Tom's going crazy. Tom's saying, no way, how did this happen? And Tom said, hey, did somebody just win a TV? Because we had a contest at the radio station all year. If somebody returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, they'd win a Sharp Aquas television. So some woman won a TV because of you. So, I mean, that's crazy stuff. But, you know, we'll never forget it, that's for sure. Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
So, Devin, as an offensive lineman, we study tape, and we study tape of our opponent, and we kind of look at the flow, their strengths, their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities. As a kick returner, is it just how you see it at the second, or do you spend time watching tape of what maybe their vulnerabilities are against an athlete like yourself?
I feel like at this point, you in a return game in all phases of the national level football, whenever you're at a skill position or any position, you have to go in a game knowing who you playing first and then knowing who you're going against. So like when I would watch film, because I would watch film on Mondays and Tuesdays to get a head start, Coach Dave inspired that into me and made me a better player by understanding my opponents. But I would watch Tennessee just like you guys on O-line, which guy is out there that really don't want to be out there. You know, first off, because on special team, you have a lot of guys out there that's probably started on defense or offense that really don't want to be out there. So he showed glimpses of those. And then on top of that, you study the kicker, you know what I mean? Kickers, a lot of returners, like when I talked to them today, they don't even know which side of the kicker is trying to go to, like kicking the ball to. They can't read the approach of the kicker, his alignment, the way he aligned from the ball, that they never looked at that. So,
But you did.
yeah. So knowing which way the kicker is trying to go as a returner, that means you get an opportunity to get a jump on the ball, because as a returner, it's hard to catch the ball when you're moving side to side trying to figure where the ball at. But when you know where the ball is he's trying to get the ball, you can go ahead and put yourself in a position where you don't have to do a lot of movement. You're already there to catch the ball. And then on top of that, it's just understanding your blocking scheme. And when you understand your blocking scheme, you can make it more easier, and you can help those guys out even more to put them in a better position to make blocks.
So that opening kickoff of the Super Bowl, Dave Tobin, the special teams, they call it a designed return for that instant. Did the return open up as the way it was called, and did it all work out to your vision how you thought it was going to happen?
The first guy that I made miss was unexpected. I didn't think he was going to be. I thought we had him blocked. We supposedly had him blocked. A man to pick him up, but I guess they ran some type of stunt where our guys couldn't get to him, and he appeared in the middle of the hole. So that one move that I made in the middle of the hole was, I don't want to say it, but that was all me.
And it opened up after that. After that, like from our vantage point of being high up in the booth, we could see that, boy, this thing could be a touchdown after that move.
Most definitely, man. So after I made that one guy miss, then the rest of everything else, the way we draw it up, it was perfectly designed.
See, to me, Devin, somebody asked me about this the other day, a writer for a story they're doing on you and just that play. And they said, did you ever anticipate Devin? And I said, no, it's hard to anticipate, but I will say, whenever you made that sharp cut, that kick sailed to the far side of the field, and then whenever you got a lane in the middle of the field, you were gone. The blocking was there, and your speed and your slipperiness and your execution and vision was unmatched. And every time, whenever I saw that, I knew it was 6. That's it. Oh, yeah. It was 6, and that happened time and time again. The crazy thing is that, and this is where you, and I think Tom would agree when you talk about revolutionize something, is that punters and the arrogance of the punters or the head coach or the special teams coordinator of these other teams, we're going to kick it to them anyway. We're going to get them. And they kick it down the middle of the field, or they'd mishit it. And, I think about that Denver game against Todd Sauer run. He did it, or the St. Louis Rams game. I mean, it was almost flabbergasting, because in that 2-year period, Tom, when I don't know if people really have studied this, but the 13 touchdowns in the first 2 years, that's insane. Like, it's over 3,000 return yards and 13 touchdowns in those 2 years alone.
I wish every special team unit would have had that mindset for the rest of my whole entire career.
Right.
Who knows how many returns I would have had.
Oh, no question about it.
It affected the concession stand sales, because no one wanted to get out of their seat at the opening kickoff or 4th down when Devin was on the field. And what a heck of a compliment, because, like I said, I hear it from people all around the country that know that I work for the Bears and had a small part of your career, but I think it's the appreciation and the willingness of the skill of the position, because, like I said, it's so difficult in order to, and the catch punts with vision down the field and then make a guy miss in the open field, because they're great athletes that are coming at you. So all that, is the difficulty of the job.
Correct. Thank you so much for that.
Well, the crazy thing is, people talk about, and maybe you feel this, or maybe, it won't happen, but it's a common question, will more return men be recognized? And there have been some outstanding returners, nobody like you, though. And that is no disrespect to a guy like, say, Brian Mitchell, who put up a lot of yards, did it for a long time. He's never been a finalist. You talk about Dante Hall, he was the human joystick. You could talk about a number of guys that, primarily were return men, and Billy White Shoes Johnson. Billy White Shoes Johnson had a great career. But you were just different. And again, no disrespect to any of those men. You were just different, and you fired up your own teammates to the point that, and I know Charles Tillman was on, I believe, every one of those 19 before you went to Atlanta and got the 20th as a blocker. They wanted to be on there. And that is an ode to your excellence. And, I mean, they had an all-star team on that punt return unit and the kickoff return unit. How important was that to you as a teammate?
It was very important because when guys realized, what we was capable of, it made a big difference in the special team room. Like I really felt like out of my 4 teams that I played with in the NFL, Chicago, my first 2 years, we actually felt like we was part of the team. And, no disrespect to the other special team units, but that bond that we had my first 2 years was like, we felt like we was more important than the offense, to be honest with you. Like, that's just how important. Like, and the Bears, they felt it. So that's why you see sometimes pre-game, we would get recognized coming out because we had earned our stripes that, hey, we know the defense is the defense week where they come out and they name all the defensive players, that everybody get their individual, offense get their individual. But listen, it's a new sheriff in town, man. Like we earned our stripes where we are a third phase of the part of this team. You know what I mean? We make big plays and hey, we feel like we should get our flowers here and there too. So the unit that we had and the bond that we had, man, and guys just would get terrified and really, really upset when Coach Dave said, hey, man, we're going to take y'all special team this week. Those guys, they said, I don't care what you do. You're not taking me off kickoff return to punt return.
That's awesome.
So those guys, they really look forward to the return game.
Devin, we're all football fans and we pay attention to the game closely. When you go back and you look at this past Super Bowl and there is no kickoffs returned, how disappointing is that to you? Because I think when you look at the difficulty of that job and the period of time that you did it, it was super challenging. And then you look at these returners standing back there, fair catching in the field of play, letting these guys not take it 4 yards deep in the end zone. How much of a disappointment is that to you?
It's very disappointing, and it's a sign of lack of respect for who you putting back there. As a special team coach, like Coach Dave, when I was playing, we had the green like 8 yard deep end zone to come out with it. So that's just the respect and we proving ourselves that hey, it don't matter where they kick the ball. If I can get my hands on it, we coming out with it regardless. And to me, it's just a lack of respect for the returners. If you don't have a guy that's catching the ball 3-4 yards deep in the end zone and not able to come out with it, then as a special team coach, you have the wrong guy back there, or you need to find somebody to put back there where you can put faith in that this is a key. This one return could change the momentum of the game, and that's what we're lacking. Is special team coaches don't have faith in the return guys, or they just not trying to go out and get the return guys. They looking at other positions.
Devin, when I think of your skill level and I think of the new design of the kickoff return, oh my God, Devin, you would return one a game for a touchdown. You would be in if they gave you that crease, if that gave you that impactful double team. I don't see anybody being able to catch you, and I'm so happy for you to go in the Hall of Fame. But I'm going, man, just think if Devin was still in the game, he would change the game.
And the situation they got it now, you have no choice but let them return it now. Like you're gonna see the return rate go from maybe 10% to maybe 85% in the first year.
With no hang time, Devin. No hang time.
And nobody can move until I catch the ball. That's the crazy thing about it. If nobody moves until I catch the ball and they 10 yards away from each other, and then once I catch the ball, it's one line. It's like it's not staggered or nothing. So you find one crease and you out of there. It's you and the kicker, and you can cancel Christmas with him.
I am worried though that kicker, the coaches will be fearful in the early going and have touchbacks and give up, because it's 5 yards. I mean, they're giving up.
What they're going to do right now,
or squib it,
is they're going to find safeties and DBs to learn how to kick.
Oh.
Yep.
It's going to take the kickers out of the game now because you find a safety or DB that can kick, you put them back there because it's going to be open field one-on-one tackles. That's what's going to happen. Be cautious. Right now, it ain't no onside kicks, really. There's no squib kicks like that. So now you have to kick it. And if you kick it too far, it's a penalty.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So you have to kick it within the 25-yard range. As a normal person, you should be able to do that.
It wouldn't shock me that the first special teams coordinator to pull that would be Dave Tobe.
Yeah,
he's got a guy who can do that.
Yeah.
When it's time to tackle some game day deals, then go with a grocer. Has been a part of Chicago since 1899. Jewel Osco, the official grocery store of the Chicago Bears, are brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears. Devin, I'm sure you have a lot of invitations out and guys wanted to come and pay respects to your Hall of Fame career teammates. Give us some of the names that'll be showing up there in Canton with you, and then you got to also tell me about your mom, and she is your presenter, Juanita Brown.
Oh yeah. So a couple guys, of course, Jason McKee, Johnny Knox, Brandon Madejo, Hunter Hillemeyer, Patrick Manley. The list goes on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of guys. Kevin Payne, Adrian Peterson. It's a ton of guys coming out there.
A lot of good men right there.
Yes. Purchased their tickets, got their hotel. So it's going to be a family reunion once the party starts.
And then how about mom? What lines you to have her be your presenter? I'm sure you thought about some other options, but you can't beat mom, right? You can't beat mom.
I mean, it's a ton of guys that I had in mind, but it's nobody that adds up to what my mom did. And so I felt like, you know what I mean, for me, the most important person in the world, for me, that really, really guided me and got me to the point was my mom. And so that's why I picked her.
Is she nervous?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. She's more nervous than me, man. She called me every other day, asking me about it. I'm like, Mom, it's the same answer I give you 2 days ago is, hey, just be ready.
Yeah, it'll be something for sure.
You know, Devin, I was looking at some pictures of you this morning and from teams of different jerseys, but I really only remember you in a Bears jersey. I played my last year after playing my career for the Bears. I went and played a year for the Miami Dolphins. And then when I walked away, I was comfortable with walking away from the game. When you knew it was over, were you comfortable with that part of your life, knowing it was over?
I was comfortable because I know as a player, me individually, and you probably felt the same, that you left a lot of players out there. You know what I mean? You left a lot of players on the field out there, and it's some things that you felt like you didn't show that you could have was capable of showing. I left because of the injury I had on my toe, that I knew I wasn't going to be the Devin Hester that everybody wanted me to be, and so that's the reason why I told myself when I got and played the last game, Seattle, that I left out with a bang is how I felt. My last game of my career, like if you take away the penalties, I had over 300 yards returning in a playoff game.
Wow.
So that was a statement that said, hey, even with a bum toe and a 75% Devin Hester, can't nobody match this guy.
So, you know, from all your experiences throughout your professional career, and now you have the opportunity to speak to youth and coach youth, when you kind of give them advice or you're thinking about what you're going to say to them, is a lot of it from the examples of your experience through your sports life? And
yeah, most definitely. And for me, that's the only way I can relate to anybody. I speak facts on what I have experienced, not what I heard or what I think. I only go based off of my experience and what got me there and what made me so successful. Because, hey, if you're hearing it from me and this is what I did, then of course you're going to go off with it. But if you're just making up some scenarios or you're saying this is what people normally say to do, then I don't like to give my opinion when it's coming from somebody else. I can only give my opinion from what I have experienced. So that being said, when I talk to my youth and when I talk to my team, I only tell them my experience and what I did and the things I had to go to and what made me better. and hopefully it can work for you.
Devin, you got the gold jacket. We saw the Twitter video with your kids. You were slow playing it, real dramatic. Oh, take us through that, and how cool is this? How cool is this that you get to celebrate this with your wife and your children?
It's because for me, I'm a family guy. If you guys don't know that, know me, you can kind of see on my Instagram, my Twitter, and things like that. Everything I do is it's all family oriented. It's never a time where I'm out doing anything really individual unless I'm playing golf. I'm always a family guy. And so my last 15, 16, 17 years, I built a relationship and I built my own family where those are the guys I'm around 24/7. And so it was an honor to see the process, my first child, my second child, my third child, and we all grew up in the same household. And the countless days where I come home, sometimes I'm frustrated, I may have a bad practice, and they see all that. And then there's days where I'm coming out the locker room and I just return the kickoff for a punt, for a touchdown. Like, they see the ups and the downs and the roller coasters. And so to share that moment with them and say, hey, listen to my kids that's playing sports right now. Hey, listen, I'm a prime example of a testimony that, hey, everything I went through is not going to be perfect. But if you continue to work at it, you continue to do the small things that's important, then hopefully one day it'll happen to you.
So Steve McMichael going in as well. Julius Peppers, Steve second in the order. Jared Payton, the presenter. I mean, there's a lot of Bears connections here for the franchise that has the most Hall of Famers. What is the impact of you on you with that? And, of course, with Steve battling to stay alive just so he can, experience this moment, how he's going to experience it from his bed in where's he living again?
Homer Glen.
In Homer Glen, yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing stories about that situation. I know they was trying to make arrangements for him to bring the bed and everything like that, and they said it was no possibility that would happen. But I know that they're saying he's fighting really, really because he wants to be here for that moment, and so I really can't tell you how he feels because I'm not in his shoes, you know what I mean? But looking in from the outside, you know what I mean? It's a tough situation, you know what I mean? For him to finally make it, but he's in a situation that he's in where he's really, really not really able to celebrate it. The events that we've been having from traveling back and forth from Canton, Ohio, I know his wife, Miss, has been there in his place, but as a player, you in your mindset, I want to be there. I don't want nobody else to go through all the festivities and to be able to go in and do the bus and to do all the activities that a lot of people don't know that we do before it leads up to the actual ceremony. But it's a lot of opportunities, a lot of great experience that you're able to do leading up to the Hall of Fame. And it's tough for a guy like any Hall of Fame to miss those activities, man. And then the main stage is just being on the stage and being able to thank every person that was involved in your life. You know what I mean? I know that's something that he really, really wanted to do.
Devin, on that Hall of Fame Saturday, you're going to be a Hall of Famer in reality for the first time in your life. About a week and a half ago, I went to a dinner with 20 Hall of Famers from around the country. And these guys that have been in the Hall of Fame now 10 to 15 to 5, however many years. Can you imagine a year from now when you're Devin Hester, the Hall of Famer, when you get around these other gold jackets and you're able to celebrate, hug, and handshake with these guys that are in such a small fraternity of success, and you think about your future as a Hall of Famer, it's got to be really rewarding to think about what you've earned, achieved, and how it's going to work itself out. How it's going to work its way out over the years.
Most definitely, man. Because when I talked to a couple of Hall of Famers, they said that it's one or two things you can't take away in life. You can't take away your diploma. You can't take away your mother, your dad. You know what I mean? That's always going to be your mom. That's always going to be your dad. But then the second thing on the list is you can't take away that gold jacket. Once you get that gold jacket, it's yours for life. And so for me, this is once I get this jacket, it's just, like I said, it's a living testimony of greatness. It's only 378 people that can say,
Right.
I am a professional Hall of Famer when it comes to football. Out of millions of guys that played this game of football, we're not only talking about just NFL, but guys that tried to play the Part 1 that didn't make it, guys that tried to play the high school that didn't pan out, college-wise didn't get drafted. So it's so many football players that tried this professional sports, but to narrow it down to 378, and they say, hey, I'm one of those guys, it's really an honor.
It surely is. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. And draw up a great game plan of savings with Jewel Osco for your digital coupons. Download the app for a fully loaded lineup of hot deals on produce, salty snacks, tasty beverages, and more. Devin Hester in a class with Julius Peppers, Dwight Freeney, whom you played in the Super Bowl in that game, Andre Johnson, the Houston Texans' first Hall of Famer, and Patrick Willis, the great linebacker of the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, Steve McMichael is also prominent in that list. Quite the class. A final thought from you on just what you're about to experience, because I want you, you got to be a little selfish on this trip, right? This is the trip that you're only going to make one time when you're being honored. You'll go back every year and enjoy the Gold Jacket experience, but be selfish on this trip, Devin. Soak it all in, you and your family, all right? And enjoy every last bit of it, because you're going to take that with you for the rest of your life, and you can spread the news about what it was like. So any final thoughts?
Just I'm hoping that we can get a sold-out crowd with the fans. I know the fans are traveling, and I just want to, mainly pinpoint that the fans was really, really who I cherished when I played in Chicago. Like, from day in to day out, ups and downs, win or lose or draw. Those guys, man, to be honest, really, really motivated me every week to come out and try to do my best.
Well, I know they appreciate hearing that, because you brought them up out of their chairs, that's for sure. Devin, thank you so much for taking the time. Enjoy the whole experience, all right? We'll see you in Canton.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Devin.
Special thanks to Devin Hester. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please subscribe now on the Chicago Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bear down, everybody.